the headlines you mentioned, you're often criticized, and I feel like people give unrealistic expectations around what they think you should be looking like given the elaborate depth of your protocol. Because if you have 100 pills a day, you spend this much money per year, then you should look like you're 19 years old, even if you're 46. That's what people will assert, which is obviously unrealistic. And you only started really doing this front facing a few years ago anyways. There's only so much you can do with current technology, obviously.
Right.
But one thing I did see that was kind of interesting is a tweet by Elon Musk seemingly agreeing with people shitting on you for this. So some guy, Matt Paulson, my unpopular opinion of the day is that Bryan Johnson looked way better before he started spending $2 million per year on his body. Elon Musk, 100. And then you replied, you said, former Bryan didn't get invited to vampire cosplay as himself. And you tweeted with your likes higher than Elon's.
Yeah.
So, and then further to that, somebody basically shot back at you for, like, why are you posting this? And you said, the difference between Elon and me, I'll nourish you and drink your blood. He'll fire you and leave you to die. What? Is there beef between you and Elon, or what is going on there?
No, we're, I'd say we're friends. Like we actually spent a lot of time together in the early days of Brain Interfaces when he was going to join Kernel as a co-founder with me.
Okay.
And it didn't work out. He ended up doing Neuralink, I did Kernel, but it was fine. Everything's great. So no, it's just playful banter.
Okay.
But I think what I'm trying to highlight here is we behave in ways that oftentimes escape our own awareness. And when someone like Elon has a presence in society, people will mirror his behaviors, knowingly and unknowingly. And he represents a certain zeitgeist of basically being a martyr for technological progress. He fully expects to die, and he lives his life in a manner where he's okay with the trade-off of accelerating his own death in exchange for pushing technology forward.
He's still doing that, you think?
He's still doing that. And at his companies, if you are familiar with the culture of his companies, it is definitely an environment that people are not bragging about their speed of aging scores.
Right.
Yeah, it is definitely like I'm grinding and my professional accomplishment in the pursuit of this mission. So it's wonderful in that it motivates people to do really hard things and to work very hard. So from a human perspective, there's a lot of admirable things about that. And what I'm trying to call attention to is that disposition is representative of a time and place when death is inevitable, philosophically. Now, that's been true for 200,000 years with Homo sapiens. And my observation with Blueprint is when you look at the time and place of how we've acquired the ability to engineer atoms and molecules in biology, and you look at the progress in medicine, and you see we're approaching superintelligence, we may have just crossed the threshold where death is no longer inevitable, or there's some radical extension of how long and how well we can live. Now, when that happens, you have to remap all of society from a framework to say death is inevitable, to death is like our lifespans are this unknown horizon. That changes everything about how you approach life. So now if I'm confronted and I say, am I willing to grind myself and increase my speed of aging and my probabilities of getting disease in exchange for this objective, or am I in a different era? And so what I'm calling attention to is he and I are the polar opposites of zeitgeist expectation. He says it's inevitable. I say it's worth the gamble to say we may be on the cusp of the most extraordinary existence in the galaxy, and I don't want to miss out. And so what I playfully was saying is, I will nourish you and drink your blood. What I was trying to say is, in a funny way, is I am feeding people literally. I'm trying to help them with their health and wellness. I'm trying to give them a framework and infrastructure to do that. Meanwhile, I'm also going to drink the blood, which plays on my son situation, but I'm in this with you. Like we are traveling this journey where it's not a situation where I say, if you can't cut it, you're out. I'm saying we're all in this together and we all have to solve this thing together. And contrast, in the situation where Elon's running his companies, if someone's not making the cut in this martyrdom path, they're axed and they're gone.
Yeah.
And so you're left for dead. And so what I'm trying to say is, as a species, we are shifting from this modality where inevitability and just like we're pushing people aside to like, we're all in this together. And if we're trying to solve the existential crisis before us, there's a new way of being. And so obviously that's what I just said is very layered. And so not many people probably captured that. They just read the headline and it's like they understand the blood thing or whatever. But I'm trying to say, when you pull back and look at this from a century in the future, you might see this huge shift. Like we see in the past, like you see major shifts in cultural zeitgeist, how we do things. This may be the most revolutionary shift in the history of Homo sapiens.
Awesome. Yeah, it's I'm not really sure if he's becoming more cognizant though of what he should be doing, because he's taken measures clearly pharmacology wise to try and like stop overeating. Yeah. And he's done certain things that are in the right direction, maybe as far as getting on the path, but perhaps not as much as he should be. And I still see him saying, "Oh yeah, I only need 6 hours sleep," things like that. I feel like it's pretty rare for somebody to be able to get away with 6 hours.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. I mean, so I would say nothing to knock him.
Sure.
Right? Like my objective would not be to criticize him in any way. I'm trying to make an observation about what he stands for and what I stand for. And that if people can tease out, there's a different way of being. Because I know as an entrepreneur, and you know as well, the social pressure to grind and to flex your grind, to flex some small number of sleep or to flex, your number of hours you work a week or whatever, it still creates social standing among people and you want to do it. And so what I'm trying to say is you're safe in being a different person that prioritizes your health. Because most people who do want to prioritize health, they feel like they have to hide it.
I almost feel like nowadays it's more of a flex to say I work out every day, eat well, sleep 8 hours, and still have successful companies.
It's new. Like that is very new as a flex, where people are like, that you don't get dinged in some way as not being so you could say that, yes, but are you still an epic entrepreneur?